I don't believe in losses anymore. I believe in capital. Every L you took, that wasn't failure, it was funding. You see, most people are broke in life because they never learned how to bank their lessons and only see loss. The L's are the capital. The lessons are the assets. And when you add that to your account and ability, you cannot fail. So we've been looking at it all wrong. An L is information, not identity. Pain is tuition, which often costs a fee. Life doesn't punish, it educates. Life doesn't take from you, it charges you. You only lose when you don't take the lesson, because pain without reflection is just suffering. If and when you don't learn, that's the loss right there. And in those moments, you got to say to yourself, how dare I not find the lesson that I'm being taught right now? And it's inevitable. We all take L's. But if we start to look at it differently, we will see how important taking L's can be. For example, money can disappear overnight, right? That's an L. But skills, awareness, and discipline, that follows you everywhere. They become assets, and assets appreciate over time, to a point where betrayal becomes discernment. Failure becomes strategy. Silence equals emotional control. Imagine that. Lessons equal ability. Now I hear this. A lesson is useless until it upgrades your ability. Now, if you learn patience, you gain power. If you learn boundaries, you gained leverage. If you learned humility, you gained longevity. Now, I've taken so many L's, so many trips, slips, and falls. And the saying that comes to mind is 7 times fall, 8 times rise. Because every single time I've got up. But not every single time in my life did I know that the L's were the capital and the lessons were the asset. Not every single time I knew that. So I kept on making the same mistake over and over again. I wasn't learning. I was ignorant until I took the biggest fall of my life, until I took the biggest L of my life. Now I had no choice but to look at it a different way. You see, I'll always say it, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And there's no better time to be ready than when you're humbled. When you're humbled, you will be really ready. Why? Because circumstances dictated it that way. So there I am, biggest L of my life. Now I realized that L was trying to teach me something. I just didn't know what it was at the time. But I knew I was humble, and I knew I was ready, and I knew I wanted change. So what I did is not look at it as an L, I looked at it as capital. Right? When you got capital, you can take that somewhere and you can spend it. Then I started looking at the lessons as assets. We all know what assets are. Assets appreciate over time. Sometimes they depreciate, but more time, they appreciate over time. Now, once I started looking at it like that, I was able to reframe it in my mind. Once I was able to reframe it in my mind, I was able to add accountability to that. So here I am, at this point, biggest L of my life. I'm literally at rock bottom. So the only way to pick myself back up again was to look at things differently. Then I realized that this L is the capital. It is exactly what I need to change my life around. Which means that the lesson then becomes the asset. Where's this guy going with it? Now let's think about it. If you are taking L's, but you are learning lessons along the way, knowing that the L becomes capital, which is funding, and the lesson becomes asset, then you learn things along the way. You may learn patience, you may learn humility, you may even learn how to be a better person, or even accountability, which is a big one. So the L's are capital. Capital is like funding. Funding can be spent on buying assets. The assets that you are acquiring are assets within you. Now these could be anything, ranging from resilience to forgiveness, to happiness, to peace. It could be anything. Because whatever L's you take, the world is trying to tell you something. Now, some people continue to keep taking L's. You might be out there continuing to take an L or continuing to take the same L's. And until you start to see that the L's are your capital and the lessons are your assets, then you will continue to take those L's. You will continue to lose. Now, if you start to look at your L's this way, you can't fail. Because failure requires repeated ignorance. And that's not you. Is failure needed in life? Yes. But it's the lessons learned, the assets from that failure in life. People don't fail because life is hard. They fail because they refuse to learn, forgetting that once the lesson is learned, the same situation can't beat you twice. Remember the saying, once bitten, twice shy? Now that's because you more than likely learned the lesson from being bitten. That lesson became your asset. I was speaking to a 27-year-old the other day, and he and I were speaking, and he kept on saying that he's running out of time. He's running out of time. And that's when I asked him his age. I said, how old are you? He said 27. So in my mind, it's crazy to think that a 27-year-old may think that he or she is running out of time. Now, if that is you and you are out there, I would like to tell you that you're not running out of time. I'd like to tell you to fail forward. I'd like to tell you that the more risk you take will be the more L's you take. Now, in this case, the more L's you take is the more capital you gain. Once you gain that capital, those lessons become assets. Once those lessons become assets, you can take them anywhere in the world you wish to go. Why? Because you own them. And assets appreciate over time. So if you're young and you're watching this, maybe in that same age bracket, between 20 to 30 or something like that, I want you to know you're not running out of time. But whatever age you are, I want to advise you to take risk. I want to advise you to try things. I want to advise you to be happy in failure, to be a student in failure, to understand that failure is necessary, to get the fact that we may fall 7 times, but we're going to stand up 8, just by the law of nature. We have to get back up again. We're not going to stay on the floor. If you slipped over on the ice, you wouldn't stay on the floor. You'd get up if you could. So that's my advice to you guys. Use your losses in life and view it as capital. That capital you take to the lessons to give you assets, right? Those assets, you take those assets and you add that to your account and use your own ability. Don't let that go over your head. Use your own ability to take you where you need to go. The L's are part of the plan. The L's are part of the building. The L's are going to happen regardless of what we think in life. It's just how you use them. It's just how you view them. It's just how you look at them. And it's just how you see them. The L's are the capital. The lessons are the assets. And once you add that to your ability, then failure has nowhere to live. Now, the next time you take an L, I want you to ask yourself, what is this loss trying to teach me? What lesson can I gain from that? The more losses you take, the more capital you have. The more capital you have, the more assets you have. The more assets you have, the more you can use them, sell them, and make your life better. Now, if you like this video, I want you to subscribe to the channel and help your boy on the way to 1,000 subscribers. I thank you for tuning in, and I hope I've added value to your day. Hear me now, because who don't hear must feel. So who doesn't get that the L's are capital, they will feel. And who does hear, who does understand that the L's are capital and the lessons are assets, who does hear will heal. Positive is a new gangster. The L's are the capital, and most people don't even realize that they're sitting on wealth.